Hello and welcome to the BI interview. I'm Gavin Suter. I'm the editor of Business Insurance. I'm here today with Julie Milbrandt, who is Marsh's US Energy and Power Wildfire Risk Leader, and she's based in Seattle, Washington. Hello, Julie.
Hello, Gavin.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. As I said, you look at the wildfire risks for Marsh, and maybe we can just start off with talking about the 2025 wildfire season. How is it shaping up?
Well, obviously, the devastating California losses of early January set a ominous tone for 2025. It'll take some time to complete the claims process on those. They've got about a $35 billion insured loss estimate, with about $10 billion ceded to reinsurance. So the first half of 2025 saw insured cat losses of roughly $80 billion, which includes wildfire and other perils. It's generally in line with what expectations were. The severe fire event shock to the market from the Eaton and Palisades fires was offset by lower than expected severe convective storms, providing some continued stability in the marketplace. So, there's not a distinct wildfire season. As you can see, starting in January, things continue to progress throughout the year. We see events throughout the year across most regions of the US. Incident rates peak during August and September timeframe following dry summer conditions. So there's much of the year still to play out. In
Mhm.
the first half of the year, there were roughly 33,000 wildfire events reported.
Right.
So a lot going on. Many were natural causes, few were attributable to utility operations, but those that are certainly make the headlines and garner a lot of attention.
Right. But the January fires, I mean, you don't normally expect such large losses that early in the year, do you? Or do you?
Well, we don't expect them, and there are a lot of mitigation strategies in place, but certainly the risk is there. Modeling did show that there was the potential. There's always the potential. It just takes a certain wind event, and things can get out of control quite quickly.
Right, right. And of course, at the moment, we hear about some very high profile or a high profile fire in Arizona. And I'm sitting in here in Chicago, and it seems every other day in the weather report, there's a warning about haze from the Canadian wildfires. So they seem to be all over the North America.
Yeah, yes, Arizona Grand Canyon event is currently going. Utah's been hit particularly hard this year. Yeah, there's certainly things continue rolling along, and there's another large fire event in California currently right now.
Right, right. So, when it comes to utilities and other critical infrastructure organizations, what are the key risk management issues that they need to be aware of, and what do they face when it comes to wildfires?
Well, wildfire has become a C-suite, a corner office issue now. It didn't used to be. Most utilities are dependent on financing to complete growth initiatives to handle the massive energy demand coming at them right now for major maintenance. So credit ratings, liquidity are really critical. Rating agencies are scrutinizing utilities on their wildfire mitigation strategies. Using those strategies in their models and risk transfer insurance programs that have become increasingly costly and challenging for to maintain adequate limits. Marsh and Guy Carpenter have assisted in building some substantial insurance programs, up to $1 billion in limits, utilizing an array of tools, reinsurance, insurance solutions, captives, catastrophe bonds, parametric products. But insurance isn't sufficient to solely rely upon. So these costs potentially pull resources that could be directed towards mitigation programs. Claims can be in the multiple billions. So a utility has the potential to be bankrupted due to a fire event that may or may not have been directly caused by their equipment or through litigation funding, leading to these incredibly oversized settlements.
Yeah.
And bankrupting a utility over a national environmental and climate issue is just inefficient. The utility can't just walk away and turn the power off.
Right, of course. And that is the kind of like the key liability then for the utilities is that they're going to get blamed for a destructive fire.
Potentially they can, correct. And there have been a lot of coordination trying to manage that risk and to coordinate with other resources, relationships with, those that maintain open lands, national forests, natural resources, coordination with building associations for more resilient communities, adequate response services, technologies that mitigate risk. We all learn from the experience and expertise of others, so collaboration is really critical. And there's a great many competing priorities that utilities face. So maintaining financial health, but public safety, reliability, delivering power are all of high priority. So mitigation measures really reinforce public safety and reliability, and those are just critical.
Maybe you can just go in a little bit more detail about some of those mitigation resources or mitigation tools. I mean, what are some of the technologies that they can access to help them with their risk mitigation?
Sure. Well, first, understanding the risk specific to your location, your service territory is imperative. So, risk models have been advancing. They're not perfect, but they've become much more refined over the last several years as incident statistics and loss data expands. So, it's no longer restricted to just ignition history and drought data. Um, our MMC analytics teams use models that incorporate high resolution weather forecasting, and then they further refine with fire response resource availability or evacuation routes, incorporation of mitigations and how they impact the likelihood and severity of an event. Active fire spread modeling can be incorporated for much more concise understanding of the changing risk conditions. So then once you gain an understanding of what the risk is and where the highest risk areas are located, then a utility can start building out, take a more critical and honest look at where their high risk areas are, and then incorporate specific strategies. So, it starts with fire risk specific inspection protocols, asset condition monitoring, and that's pole integrity, wires, attachments. This was classically done with visual inspections, but increasing use of unmanned aerial systems or UAS drones for that purpose. Thermal and infrared imaging, looking at splices and connections, electrical or electric field sensors that capture anomalies before failure. They're looking for things like arcing signatures. And then field conditions include robust vegetation management. That's just critical, one of the largest utility recurring maintenance expenses. Um, so looking at danger trees that are on a watch list, extra vegetation management pre-fire season, and then, technology improvements, including things like, use of the automated or the drones for multispectral imagery, infrared, ultraviolet to detect tree health, to determine if a tree is declining in health or if it's starting to lean, the positioning is changing, so they can tell if the root system is failing. Image processing offers new opportunities for utilities to improve the efficiency and the accuracy of their vegetation inspections. So then, things like environmental monitoring is essential. Gas sensing, remote smoke detection, AI smoke detection cameras are out there, micro weather stations. Utilities never used to even imagine that they would have a climatologist or a meteorologist on staff, and that's becoming more and more commonplace.
Right,
But
right.
satellite imaging, LiDAR use, and then fault reduction, using tree wire covered conductors so that it protects the wires from branches and tree interference. Undergrounding would be great, but it's very costly and it's not effective in all areas. It's just not possible in all areas. So can't have all electrical lines underground.
Well, it
Still
sounds like
using
there's
modern.
been an awful lot of developments then in terms of
Oh,
technology the last
absolutely.
few years.
Absolutely. It keeps growing and the technology expands and everybody's just learning from one another.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for joining us today, Julie, and thanks for sharing your insights.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.